Gentlemen, yeah, Feliz Dia, baby. Feliz Dia. Good day. Good day to you. Good day to you. Today I want to talk about how sports are great. Sports are amazing, but they can be a huge distraction for a lot of people. They were my biggest distraction because sports are maybe my favorite thing in the world. I love sports. Baseball, basketball, football, I just adore. If money didn't matter and I could do anything, most of my time would be spent in some capacity with sports. So that's a sign. That's a sign that ultimately that's what I should be doing, right? I should be doing something with sports if that's one of my favorite things in the world, and if money didn't matter and I could do anything, I would choose sports. Well, that's a sign that in my future I'm going to want to align myself with sports somehow and find out how to make a career and make money with sports. But until then, and when you're just getting started in entrepreneurship and self-development and you're trying to improve your life, sports can be a major distraction. Because at least and you too, we get so wrapped up into it. We care so much. And okay, listen, if you're young and you're playing sports and you think you have a chance at making it to the league, you think you have a chance at going D1, because now D1 there's NIL, so you can get a bag playing college athletics. This wasn't the case 5 years ago, but the story is different. So if you're a young athlete and you see a future and you're willing to put in the work and get there, then that's a totally other story. If you're playing sports, that's a totally different story than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about consuming sports and getting so wrapped up with stats and where they went to college. And because trust me, my childhood, my life up until about 20, I spent any free minute I had looking up where Rondé Hollis Jefferson went to college. That's an easy one. Give me Zona. Where Marshall Henderson played at. Give me Ole Miss. It's just a bunch of nonsense, okay? So when I wasn't playing sports, which that's a whole different story. If you're playing sports, that's a whole different story. I was watching it, and I chose, if I had a game and there was a big game on, I would choose to stay home and watch this all the time growing up. So that's why I didn't turn out to be a good athlete, because I wasn't willing to put in the work. And I wanted to waste my time watching sports instead of getting better. And now, watching sports isn't the worst thing in the world, but you have to detach yourself from the outcome. If you're getting so wrapped up into who wins and who loses and it's messing with your emotions, that's the problem. That's what I dealt with for 21 years. If Gonzaga basketball, if Washington Huskies football, if the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Mariners lost a game, I'd be thinking about that for the next week. Well, the Mariners, that's likely to happen, so it wasn't as big of a deal for that. But when Gonzaga, they've lost the national championship 2 times. First, I was crying both times and punching holes in the wall. And I remember posting on my Instagram, I'm deleting Instagram, don't contact me. Acting like the worst thing in the world just happened. Somebody died, a family member, is having a tough time. But no, it was just Gonzaga basketball, other men, not involving me, who lost. And I was crying. And I was thinking about it a week later, a month later, looking at the game film, seeing what they could have done differently. That's not a good way to spend your time. Because here's the thing. We only have so much energy. Nobody has unlimited energy. So when you're spending all that energy looking into athletics, looking into players' stats, hating in Instagram comments on dudes who, some of the more successful guys who you care more about the outcome than they do. And this takes energy. When you're hating on James Harden for going 5 for 20 in Instagram comments, and you're staying up and talking to your buddies about the blockbuster trades and all this nonsense, that's taking your energy. And so when your energy is getting used in that and getting all wrapped up in stats and the guys losing your bet who they couldn't care less about, when, you know, Patrick Mahomes just lost the Super Bowl and Chiefs fans, some of you guys are out there more upset than Patrick Mahomes is. Think about that. You're more mad that a grown man lost a football game than he is. And he's the quarterback. He had all the spotlight. He's the best player in the world. And you guys are more upset. You guys made it a bigger deal. That is ridiculous. And trust me, I've been there. I was there for 21 years. I was never the guy to, like some of you guys, to hate in the comments. I've never been a commenter where I go and hate on people's... it's pointless. It's pointless. If you're commenting hate on Instagram comments and going on players who are making 100 mil and you're commenting that they're not as good as they think or that they're a loser or something, it's ridiculous. What are we doing? What are you doing? So that's got to stop. So when you're just getting started in entrepreneurship, personal development, when you're trying to build good habits and get rid of vices and the old self of yours, sports got to take a back seat. They have to take a back seat. I remember telling my dad that I didn't care about sports anymore, and this came as the biggest surprise to him in the world because, you know, I grew up, me and him, every day basically we're watching sports. Every day we're watching sports. And then one day he notices me not watching as much, and when the Niners are playing, I had to stop watching. And he asks me, he goes, what's going on? Why aren't you watching the Niners anymore? And I told him, I can't waste my time. I can't waste my time on stuff that doesn't matter. And this was hard for me to say because, you know, it was something that me and him did, and, you know, I didn't want to hurt his feelings or anything. And when I say that I don't care about sports, when I had to tell him that, that's all I said, right? I didn't go into detail, that's all I said. But what I actually meant was sports are my favorite thing in the world. I get too distracted. I can't focus when there's a game on or when I'm thinking about players' stats or when I'm mad that the Niners lost. So that has to take a back seat right now. I have to get rid of sports for the meantime to go all in on personal development. And so that's what I meant. And while I should have said that, I didn't. And I just said I don't care about sports. It's a waste of time. You know, so this whole story is, I'm not saying that you have to hate sports. Like I said, I love sports, and my future I'll be doing with sports. If I can find a way to make money, which I can definitely find a way to make money right now on sports, but it's not my biggest focus right now. And if it's not my biggest focus, it has to be in the back seat. It has to be almost eliminated. I still watch sports, but I detached my feelings from it. I can't get all mad and I can't get all happy even if somebody, a team wins or somebody does something. It's just, like I said, you only have so much energy, and when you're focused on other men who are way more successful than you and I, that can't be the main focus of your life. Because right now, let's face it, you go to work, you come home, you're looking at stats on lunch, you're excited to get home to watch the game. You watch the game, you know, when you do something for so long, when you get pleasure for so long, it doesn't even become funny anymore. You're watching sports like this. Drinking beer, eating snacks. You got beer belly and man tits, and you're watching sports every night. Instead of watching sports for this period of your life, I want you to knock that off. I want you to knock that off. If you're anything like me and you have an addictive personality and something can take a big impact of your life, you gotta remove it for the time being. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, you want to watch sports. Yes, it's it's hard. But when you're just getting started, you have to have all your energy towards growth. And watching sports and focusing on players' stats, there's only negatives. There's only negatives when it comes to that. There's no positives. In no way can that help you. unless you're planning on making money from that somehow, it's a waste of time. So detach yourself from the result. If you want to watch sports a couple times a week or whatever, you want to watch a couple games a week. Today's Saturday, for example, there's Alabama versus Auburn in basketball. There's the Iron Bowl, 1-2. That's an amazing game. That's an amazing game. So I might watch that for a bit, but in the past I would have, if you're betting, first of all, cut that off, cut that out for sure. Stop sports betting like a bum, dude. Go make some real money. And then once you have money to waste, then you can do that. But right now you don't. Right now you barely make any money and you're focusing on getting lucky from an athlete. Focus on skills that can translate to making money. And then once you have that money, then sure, go sports bet. Then sure, go to the games and all that. But until then, you got work to do. You got work to do. So like I said, Auburn, Alabama today, the Iron Bowl. Cooper Flagg, the best NBA prospect of all time, is playing today. I'll probably watch that for a little bit. But I'm not going to get all upset. I'm not going to get all mad. I'm not going to spend the whole day watching sports. I'm not going to, if Cooper Flagg has a bad game, I'm not going to go comment on his Instagram. Oh, you're not number one pick worthy. You're not number one pick worthy. But yeah, you did hear me right. The best NBA prospect of all time, Mr. Flagg. So yes, I will want to watch that, but you just have to be smart with it. And like I said, if you're just getting started, you have to focus all your intentions on growing and getting better. So yeah, if you want to watch sports a couple times a week, just don't get too caught up with the outcome. Don't let it affect you the next day. The Iron Bowl, number 1-2. I got Bama in that game, by the way. I think it's at Bama. But I got Bama. Mark Sears, LeBaron Philon, Grant Nelson, Darion Reed, Paul Omarui, or Cliff, whatever his name is, Cliff Omarui, something like that. Who else is on that squad? Jaron Stevenson, Aiden Holloway. Yeah, Aiden Holloway, Biz. Dang, that's a squad. See, I still know my stuff. I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to sports. That, Alabama, I have nothing to do with Alabama, and I can name quite a few guys on that roster, what stars they had, all this nonsense that doesn't really matter. But I enjoy it a lot, and I know that there's going to be a way for me to make money on that in the future. So I'll focus on that, and I'll go all in on that when that comes. But for now, and if you're just getting started and not planning on going D1, not planning on making money from sports, it's mostly just a distraction. Like I said, a few times to enjoy sports with your friends and get together or whatever with your dad, and just don't get too wrapped up in it. So it's a journey for me. I'm trying to figure out, how to balance it, because like I said, if I watch sports, oftentimes it's just I get carried away. And it takes my focus and energy, and I notice myself picking up all this knowledge from sports and all this information and all these facts, and I'll retain that, and I can retain that. If I'm retaining so much of that, I can't retain a lot of other things. So if you're anything like me, you got to be smart with your time and your energy. And sports are my favorite thing in the world, but at the end of the day, they're mostly distractions. Love you, boys. Crush it. If you're going D1, like I said, with NIL, that's a business play these days. The top athletes are making a couple mil a year. So, if you have a future going D1 and you're willing to do everything that it takes and you're willing to sacrifice what's necessary, then make that happen. Make that dream happen. That would be a sick life. Going D1, getting paid. That would be a sick. That would be a, you know, that's a business play right there. So if that's the case, then keep working, bro. Keep working. Do everything that's necessary. But if not, try to limit sports. Take that passion that you have from watching sports and put that into your own life. Imagine getting a sale and when your favorite boy scores and you're fired up and you're yelling at the top of your lungs. Imagine doing that when you make a sale, or imagine doing that when you do a good deed or a nice habit, or you did everything you said. Imagine pounding your chest like you do when your favorite athlete scores. Take that same energy, apply that to your life. Pound your chest when you get something done. Celebrate your wins. If you do something, what did I do when I used to, every time I used to hit a homer, I used to hold up the 3 for some reason, like I was hitting a 3, and I used to do that. When I was rounding first base, I used to do this every time. And so there's nothing that's changed now. If I do a good habit, if I do everything I say, if I make a sale, why don't I give myself one of these, that same home run celebration that I had? I don't need to do that when Victor Wembanyama hits a 3. If Victor Wembanyama hits a 3, I don't need to be doing that. I need to be doing that when I do something good, when you do something good, not when some random dude, does something that he's supposed to do while playing the game. But when you have a win in your own life, do the celebrations that you do in sports. Get fired up like you do while watching sports. I used to get fired up. When I was playing sports, I was a fiery guy. I would get low, and that would be a disaster, but I would get high. And the highs I would be just jacked up. And then watching sports after my playing times were over, same thing. I would get fired up when one of my favorite athletes did something. But then I wouldn't do anything for my own life. I wouldn't get fired up when I did something good. I would just always be in a bad mood. And so I had to take that energy I had while watching sports and put it into my own life. If you do something good, pound yourself on the chest, do your little home run celebration, your 3-point celebration, give yourself one of these or something, and get fired up, baby. Take that energy and put it into your own life and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Come on now.